All right, what's up YouTube? Today we're going to be talking about sleep hygiene. But more importantly, what are some of the sleep hygiene recommendations that you can implement right now to hopefully improve your sleep quality and or quantity? So please just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So, first of all, what exactly is sleep hygiene? This term is thrown around not only by the medical community, but also by influencers and social media. But what you may not know is that sleep hygiene is a term that has been used by sleep researchers since the late 20th century. As far as I know, it's probably goes back way more than that, but sleep hygiene itself has been used in the medical community for quite some time. It's described as practicing behaviors that facilitate sleep and avoiding behaviors that interfere with sleep. Simply, like I said, researchers have found sleep practices to improve not only the quantity, but also the quality of sleep in a broad range of individuals experiencing sleep disturbances, including young children, adolescents, and adults. But sleep hygiene practices have also been found to have positive results in improving sleep quantity and quality, thus consequently improving cognition and performance in sports athletes who may or may not necessarily have sleep disturbances. Even regular athletes who implement sleep hygiene practices seem to have positive experiences. Now, before we get into the actual recommendations, I'll let you know that there is actually no consensus on what is the most beneficial sleep practices just yet, but some recommendations that are commonly agreed upon. If you're actually considering implementing some of these practices to improve your sleep, then it can be quite overwhelming because it is a large list. So I'm not saying that you should do every single thing on this list. What you can do is recognize one or two key features or key aspects that are listed here that you could potentially implement within your lifestyle, and just stick to those ones for a few weeks and perhaps a few months and see if you have any positive results. And if so, then you can decide whether or not to implement a little bit more. One last thing, these are not the only practices that can potentially improve sleep quality and quantity, but these are simply the practices that are categorized as sleep hygiene by definition. Some things like exercise, medication, and supplementation can perhaps also improve sleep, but are not categorized as sleep hygiene. So here's the recommendations that I like the most. Number 1, develop a regular bedtime routine to help you relax and prepare your body for bed. This can be things like reading, having a warm bath, doing some type of bathroom routine, washing your face, applying skincare, moisturizing, I don't know, shaving, brushing your teeth, meditation, yoga, stretching, deep breathing, journaling, writing, some type of ritual that you can actively practice and perform every single evening to help you relax, wind down, and help your body associate with you getting ready for sleep. Every time you perform this routine, it is associated with the ritual, the end goal of falling asleep. Number 2, try to wake up the same time every single morning, even on weekends and holidays. Now, yes, there's going to be exceptions on this, but even on the weekends and holidays, try to be a little bit strict with yourself. If it means losing 1 to 2 hours of sleep, by all means do it, because at the end of the day, it'll be more beneficial for your sleep schedule, creating a net positive outcome for your sleep in the future. You're going to perhaps have some benders and late nights over the weekend, which in that case, yes, it's okay to schedule your alarm a little bit later or cut it out completely to get that 7 to 8 hours of recommended sleep. But for the most part, if you find yourself working 1 to 2 hours later during the weekdays and you have the flexibility to adjust your alarm in the morning to wake up later, then don't. Because that can potentially lead to a shifting of your sleep schedule at which your body will have to adjust the next evening. So just make sure you wake up at the same time every morning and go to bed early enough to meet the 7 to 8 hours of recommended sleep that you would need in order to wake up at that time. Number 3, avoid alcohol if you can, or at least avoid it right before bed. We're all humans and moderation is key. Obviously, if you're regularly consuming alcohol throughout the week, then there might be a bigger issue at hand. But if you're a social drinker and you want to have a few drinks and go out and you're legitimately worried about that interrupting or disrupting your sleep, then make sure that you just have alcohol in the afternoon. Make sure that the psychoactive effects of the alcohol are not right before your sleep, so much so that it disrupts your REM sleep. that deep sleep. Things like cannabis and alcohol have been shown to disrupt REM sleep, so you're not getting much of a restful sleep experience. And it's the same thing with caffeine. The consumption results in the disruption of sleep quality. So if this is a factor that you can change within your lifestyle, then caffeine is something that you're also going to want to limit at least after midday. Because remember, the half-life of caffeine is 6 hours. I'm all for the consumption of caffeine. By all means, you can have it in the morning, have it with your breakfast, use it to enhance your sports performance, use it before you train, but try to limit it in the afternoons and the evenings. And if that's a difficult change for you to make, then it's worth considering having a decaffeinated beverage alternative instead. Okay, number 5. Consider reducing your fluid intake before bed so that you don't have to get up to go to the bathroom. This is self-explanatory, but only if you maintain enough hydration throughout the day. So I don't want people to stop drinking water in the evening because they're worried about disrupting their sleep, and yet they've only consumed like 1 to 2 glasses of water throughout the day. If you're thirsty, you're thirsty. You must drink. But I know some people, especially females because they have smaller bladders, struggle to make it throughout the entire evening or the entire night without the urge to go to the bathroom. It's the most annoying thing in the world, but it can seriously disrupt sleep and make you uncomfortable. The one thing that you can do is ensure that you're very well hydrated throughout the day so that in the evening, perhaps after dinner or something, you can stop drinking as many liquids so that it doesn't disrupt your sleep, if that is, of course, something that you struggle with. Number 6, make sure that your bedroom is as dark as possible and a little on the cool side rather than the warm. Because basically, you're going to want to mimic a cave environment, as if you're living like a barbarian without proper housing, or you're a non-perishable item that you want to store in the pantry. But for real, we don't necessarily have the clinical data whether or not this improves sleep significantly. But we know that darkness is going to increase melatonin production, and we know that your body's core temperature lowers when we fall asleep. So in most cases, as long as you're comfortable, it is not necessary to stay warm throughout your sleep. Your body temperature lowers anyway, so making sure that you are more cool and have no bright lights that could be disrupting your sleep, that is recommended. Number 7, limit blue light emitted from screens before bed. Blue light suppresses melatonin levels and potentially makes it a little bit more difficult to fall asleep. This could go hand in hand with the first point of making a routine of putting your phone away, switching off the TV, and doing some form of analog activity like writing or reading at least 30 minutes to 1 hour before bedtime, just to reduce that direct blue light exposure to your eyeballs in the evening. But if you can't help it, I know that there's features and applications that are included proprietary or standard with phones and computers nowadays that can reduce the blue light in the evenings. A night mode that makes your screen more warm, which you can use in addition with a reduced brightness setting, which can offset these effects just a little bit. Number 8, use the bed for sleep and intimacy only. This is a big one. You want your body to associate the bed with sleep. The minute you start doing other activities in bed, such as working on your laptop, watching TV, studying, your body stops associating the bed with sleep. So put your phone away and don't fall asleep watching TV. And make sure that you don't work as much in bed. Now, perhaps that reading and writing that I recommended can be a part of that work, but as long as it's more of a relaxing bedtime routine and not necessarily spending hours and hours straining, then by all means go for it. Number 9, get bright, natural light upon waking and regularly throughout the day. The most important thing is upon waking, supposedly. So when you wake up, make an effort to go outside and get some sun exposure, perhaps go for a walk, or just drink a cup of coffee or water and come back inside. For the people who drive around for work and are up and about, they might think this is a little bit silly, but you'll be surprised by the amount of people that work at an office or a desk job and work at home, how little daytime sun exposure they actually get. They may go outside once or twice throughout the day, but they don't receive much direct sunlight. And this is a factor that can actually improve sleep. So even if it's cloudy, it's still bright. Go outside, get some sun in your eyes, get some vitamin D, just for a couple of minutes throughout the day. It'll help you relax, keep in touch with nature, all that jazz. Number 10, don't hit the snooze button. This is a really big problem, especially for myself. If you hit the snooze button right after your alarm wakes you up, you are not getting restful sleep. It's basically a waste of time, and it isn't very good for you. So what I suggest is don't hit the snooze button. Just get up as soon as you wake up. One thing that can help is putting your alarm or your phone away from the bed, perhaps at the table across from the bedroom, so that you actually have to get up and physically go and switch it off. Okay, moving on to the bonus tips. These aren't necessarily under the category of sleep hygiene, but have still been shown to improve quality and quantity of sleep, so I thought I should list them anyway. Number 11, practice relaxation techniques and meditation if you struggle to fall asleep. They have found relaxation techniques to be incredibly beneficial for hospital inpatients who have to deal with disruption of sleep in a hospital environment. Things like the constant busyness, the noises and the beeping and the bright lights. One study found an average improvement of up to 38% in sleep quality. Now, obviously, not everybody is in a hospital environment, but it is something to consider, the fact that meditation and relaxation techniques can be a useful aid to sleep. It can be used as a part of your bedtime routine and assist those in disruptive environments, those with chronic pain, or those in general who just have troubles falling asleep. Number 12, the very last point, is regular exercise, like I mentioned before, has been found to improve sleep outcomes in adults. This is literally data from a systematic review, and it's not just hearsay or wives' tales. It is literal, proven scientific data that exercise does help. So if you're somebody that doesn't exercise regularly, I'm not saying that you should get a gym membership and train for 2 hours a day, but something as simple as making regular walks a part of your morning routine, which go hand in hand with the early morning sun exposure, can be something to consider. Or just getting up, taking regular breaks, and developing some form of habit that involves physical activity. Start slow, start small, start to move a little bit more, and start to sleep a little bit more. All right, so that is it. Like I said, you don't have to implement every single one of these all at once, but if something in particular resonated with you, then it's something that you can consider. And obviously, like I mentioned, these aren't all the points of sleep hygiene. There are other factors that can potentially help. These are just most of the points that resonated with me and what I perceive would benefit my audience the most. So thank you for watching. Please let me know if you have any questions, concerns, comments, or recommendations, and I'll check you in the next one. Peace.